and welcome to episode 2 of Midlife is a Fickle Bitch. I'm your host, Cherie Smith, and I am a midlife courage coach. I help midlife women step out of their comfort zones and reinvent themselves by doing courageous things. Last week, we ended the episode with thinking about one thing that you could do that you've never done before and you've been wanting to do for a long time. For those just joining this week, what is the one thing, if there was no money, no time limits, like whatever you wanted to do, what would be that one thing that you would do immediately, that you come to your mind right away and would excite you? What would that be? So now let me ask you a question. Why haven't you done it? Is it because of money? Is it because of time? Or is it because of fear? Most of the time, we don't do things that we want because of fear. So I'm here to help guide you into releasing those fears, understanding those fears, and pushing past them. And I want to share a little story with you about why this is so important to me, to help women in midlife live their best life. When I was 16 years old, I met a guy in the parking lot at a grocery store while shopping with my mom's friend. He had dark hair, dark eyes. He called me over to his car. He was with a bunch of other dudes, and we started talking. He asked my phone number, and he ended up calling me that night. I always felt like the ugly duckling in high school. So when this guy magically appeared and wanted to talk to me, it made me feel really good. I unfortunately did not see the red flags. My parents did, my friends did, but I was so in love with this guy. And for 2 years, it was very unhealthy, and there was emotional abuse. We did break up 2 years later, but unfortunately, I had learned an unhealthy level of what a relationship should be. So I continued to attract unhealthy men. 2 I had married and divorced, and 1 I share a son with. My ex-husband was abusive emotionally, financially, and physically. When I left that relationship, it took me quite some time to heal from that, and I was an instant single mom. But I'm here to talk about my story and share my journey because I want to give back and help other women who may have been in an abusive relationship and they're looking to heal, or they're in one and they want to know how to get out. So that's one part of me. In 2012, I was diagnosed with melanoma. In December of 2011, my son just happened to see a really funky mole on my back and told me that I should have it checked. I had other things on my mind. I was busy with Christmas shopping. I was working. I didn't have time. I didn't want to stop and take the time to go to the doctor for them to say, oh, it's no big deal. Then my husband mentioned it to me in January. And he said, look, I know you don't want to have it checked, but I think it's really important. So mid to late January, I went to the dermatologist and she looked at it and said, we have to do a biopsy. I'm like, oh, no, I don't like needles. Please, I will come back with my husband. He can hold my hand. She's like, no, we can't wait. We have to biopsy it today. So I freaked out. She just scraped it. And I went on my merry way. She said, oh, we'll have the results within a week or two. You don't really need to worry about anything. I think it's fine. So I went on with my life. My son and I had come back from shopping. My husband was at band practice. And I get the phone call from the nurse. And she said, Cherie, your biopsy results came back a week ago, and we sent them off to another lab to confirm, and you have melanoma. And I said, I don't know what that means. And she said, you have cancer. And I immediately fell to the ground. I saw my life flash before me. My son was 15, the same age that my husband's mom. When my husband was 15, his mother died. And the only thing I could think of is, oh my gosh, my son's going to be without a mom. I called my husband. He came home right away. Then we called my parents. And that Monday, I saw a surgeon. And the first thing he said to me when he walked into the room was, I want you to understand that people die from this every day. And I froze. I thought, oh my gosh, my worst fears are coming true. I am going to leave my son, and he's going to be without a mom. 2 weeks later, I had surgery to remove it, and it was successful. I also was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. And that was in 2006. And I went to the ER. I thought I was having a heart attack. And I found out that it was a panic attack. And when I was released and I came home, I immediately felt this dread and fear. I felt like I couldn't be home alone with my son. What if something happened? What if I passed out? What if I had another panic attack? All these things. I ended up having to quit my job. We were now a one income family. And my husband and I had only been married a few years. The worst part of it was I became agoraphobic, which meant I was afraid to leave my house. I couldn't even walk out the front door without fear and dread and panic. And then this led into depression. So for 1 year, the only time I left my home was to go to therapy. And the car ride was horrible. I shook, I cried, I hyperventilated. My husband became my safe person, and my home became my safe place. My kitchen is what saved my life when I was diagnosed with this panic disorder. I learned that cooking and baking helped keep my mind occupied enough so that I would not obsess over what was happening to me. So my episodes are taking place in my kitchen because I want you to understand that if I wasn't courageous enough by doing the scary things, by stepping outside of my comfort zone, I wouldn't be here today sharing what I know, helping guide you to your joy and your happiness and finding what lights you up. It took me some time to figure out who I wanted to work with, why I wanted to work with them. And earlier this year, it just came to me that I'm a midlife woman. I've been through a lot. And I know so many other women who are struggling. You're either struggling maybe with anxiety and depression right now because of everything that's going on in the world. Maybe you're an empty nester and you're wondering, what are you going to do with your time? How are you going to reinvent yourself? Perhaps you're a widow or you're divorced and you're lonely and you want to get back out there in the dating scene. You're like, who's going to want me? I'm old. Or I've gained weight. Oh, look at my wrinkles. But I'm here to be your biggest supporter, to answer questions. And I want us to be on this journey together. When I said yes to this TV show, it was more about helping the masses of women who are struggling with something in their life during this stage in their life. I think that a lot of us fear turning 50. It's almost like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? Might as well just pull up the rocking chair, grab an Afghan, and watch TV or knit, because that's all there is for me. Well, guess what? There is so much more. Life is meant to be lived. So for me, this TV show means a lot to me. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I want to guide you and support you, be your hype person, and help you get to your goals. So, what do you think sets you apart from other women? What gifts do you have that you want to share with the world? I would love to be on the stage talking to women, inspiring and empowering them. That's one of my biggest goals. And I would love to hear from you. I would like to know what your fears are, what your dreams and goals are, and I can talk about them on this TV show. So let's talk about one last thing before I end this episode, because I really wanted to share a little bit more about me so you know who I am and why I'm here. I want you to really feel like when another episode comes out that I'm a friend sitting across the table from you and we're sharing little nuggets of information, having fun, laughing, shedding a tear, giving each other a hug, and knowing that we're there for one another. So something courageous that I'm doing, which is out of my comfort zone. One is this TV show, but I also have a podcast that's going to be coming out as well. And it will be out in the next week or two. And I'm going to have all kinds of women on there interviewing. And I want it to be a podcast that is for the average woman. A lot of podcasters invite those who are professionals, who have a lot of experience, and drawing them to the podcast of, hey, so-and-so's on my show. For me, I'd love to have you on. I would love to talk to women who are part of my show, who come and listen to me and are doing courageous things and gaining confidence through courageous things. My website is www.feistycoaching.com. And you can send me an email at Cherie, Cherie, at feistycoaching.com. And you can find me on social media at Feisty Coaching. Let's do courageous things together. Let's build our confidence together. Let's have fun learning and growing together. One of the things that I want to have is a community of women who are struggling. For me, I feel like ever since I moved from my hometown to be with my husband, and this was 21 years ago, I lost a lot of my friends. And then as you know, we're raising our children, you really lose touch. And now at 53, I'm really needing that. And this is another reason why I wanted to have my show, because I wanted other women to feel connected. And I hope that you're feeling a connection, that you're going to look forward to my next episode and, find out what we're going to be talking about and how I can help you and really be in this together. So I would love to know from you, what are you struggling with? What would you like me to talk about on this TV show or even my podcast? What things do you feel like you've wanted to ask somebody but were afraid to? Maybe I need to have a physician come on my podcast to answer questions. Or maybe you would like to be on my show. I can interview you on this TV show. We can be in our kitchens together, or you could be on my podcast. I really, really do want to help women do courageous things so that you're not sitting on the sofa watching TV and your life is just wasting away. Wouldn't it be fabulous to have your child or children text you or call you and you don't respond right away because you are out living your life? Maybe you're out surfing, or you're parachuting, or you're rock climbing, or maybe you just took yourself out to dinner. And then they worry about you. Mom, what were you doing? Wow, I was enjoying life. How cool would that be? So let me just wrap this up by telling you, find the one thing or numerous things that you would like to accomplish in your life in this year. Let's just take this year or even this month and break it down into tasks and then check them off as you accomplish them so that the end result is here and you accomplish that. So next episode, we'll talk about doing other courageous things. I would love to share more about my journey. I would love to hear about your journeys. And again, if you have questions or things that you are unsure of, please send me a message and we'll talk about it on this show. I want to be transparent. I'm going to be authentic with you. I'm going to be real and raw. And I'm not afraid to tell you the truth. And what I wanted to do at the end of this episode was to do a little dance, and I don't have the music, but I shared in episode 1 that I love to dance on TikTok. So you can find me on TikTok under Feisty Coaching and enjoy those videos. And I would love to, at the end of each episode, us stand up and dance a little and enjoy being ourselves. So until next time, be bold, be courageous, and most importantly, be yourself. Until next time, have a good one.